Alrighty, so today I'm going to start off on your back. So grab hold of your strap and have the blocks handy. We might not use them until later. At least you've got them. Okay, come on down when you're ready. So we're just going to start off by lying flat on our backs. Feel free to close your eyes and we'll take some nice deep breaths. Okay, and just take note of how your body's feeling on the ground. Maybe noticing the points that are on the ground specifically, like the back of your heels, the back of your head, the back of your shoulders and the back of your hips. And then just making sure that you're not holding tension anywhere. So you tensing up your glutes, your shoulders tense around your ears, or are you feeling nicely relaxed? And then just noticing how easy, or not easy, it is to breathe this morning, whether you are breathing easily in and out of your nose or if you're having to breathe out your mouth. Maybe you're having to work a little to be able to breathe deeper. And then just before we get started, just noticing how your mind is feeling today. Whether you have lots of thoughts going on, or if you're nicely relaxed and just enjoying the sound of the birds outside. And then a couple more breaths before we begin to move. Lovely. So we're going to take our right leg and bring our knee in towards our chest. Just bring your hands around your knees and bring it in close as you can. Take a couple breaths. Maybe notice where you're feeling that the most. Definitely feeling my glutes are a little tight this morning. My hip flexors are also. And then we're going to grab hold of our strap and just wrap one or the middle around the ball of your foot. And then you're going to take your leg up as straight as you comfortably can. So you might find that you have to be quite bent to start with. Or it might stay that way, that's okay. And then we're just going to relax shoulders down on the floor. So you don't want to be henching up around. And then we'll just take some nice deep breaths. You can always have a play around with where the strap is on your foot. So whether it's in the middle of your foot or around the ball of your foot. You can move your toes up towards the ceiling. It might just change the where you're stretching in your leg. You could turn your toes out and turn them in, just depending on how it feels. Find a little tight point somewhere and you can just breathe into that area. The other thing you can have a little play around with is where your tailbone is in space. So you might find that as you've lifted your leg, your tailbone slightly off the floor. You could start to press that down a little. You might notice the small of your back or your lower spine begins to lift, and that might change the angle as well. And then we're going to take both ends of the belt into our right hand, elbow on the floor, and then our leg is going to come out to the side. So you may only go a little way, you may go all the way to the floor. You might just need a bit of time before you can go lower. And then our left hip bone is just going to stay up towards the ceiling, so you don't want to twist over to the right side at all. See, again, you can just have a little play around with where your foot is, where you're holding the belt around your foot. You can also maybe contract your glutes a little, see if that lets your adductors ease off anymore. So just taking a couple more breaths. And then when you're ready, we'll bring ourselves back through the middle. This time we're going to twist all the way over to the right side. Taking your toes close to the floor as it will go, make it all the way. Might need to adjust your hip on the left side. And then we're just going to relax again. So we don't want to cause any pain in these positions. You just want to be nice and relaxed. So if you need to, you can always bend your knee a little. You can rest your foot on your knee on a block if you need. Just feeling very easy. You can always pull your toe closer towards your face and we'll see how that goes. And then we'll bring ourselves back to the middle. You're just adjusting yourself back on your mat so that you're nice and square. And then we'll maybe just pull our foot in closer towards our body if that feels okay. Just for a couple breaths, keeping your shoulders relaxed. Lovely. And then just release your right leg out along the floor alongside your left. You just notice the sensations slightly different, maybe a bit easier than the other side now. And then when you're ready, we'll bring our left leg in. So hug it in towards your chest to start. And then when you're ready, we'll place the belt around the ball of our foot or the middle of your foot, whichever feels best for you. You can have a little play around. And then just as we did on the other side, you can just move around to see where feels good, where maybe needs a little bit extra stretch. Or you can just stay completely still if that's what you prefer. So just trying to relax the upper body. And just keeping your breath as slow and deep as you can. A couple more breaths, maybe adjusting a little if that feels good. And then placing the belt into your left hand this time, elbow on the floor. Take our leg out to the side, just nice and slowly. Give it a chance. It might feel a bit tighter than the other side, or it might feel easier, depending on how you are in your body. And then keep your right hip bone up towards the ceiling. And then just taking some nice deep breaths. And I just felt really tight in my hip flexor, so I just put my thumb in it and it just released. So I managed to get my leg onto the floor, which it wasn't before. There's always little manual adjustments that you can do in your body if it feels good, or if you feel like something's feeling particularly tight. There's no reason you can't yourself just press and see if you can ease something yourself. As long as you're not causing any excruciating pain, you might just find it can ease a little stuck area somehow. So maybe think about contracting your glutes for a moment just to see if that can release your adductors. And you can just have a little play around with squeeze and release, or just leave it be. And when you're ready, up and over to the right side this time. So coming all the way over into a twist. You can adjust as you need. If your toe won't go all the way to the floor, you can always rest on those blocks, or just let it hang in space wherever feels good. And then just take a few moments to see how your body feels. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to the middle. So as before, we just spend a couple of moments with our leg up towards the ceiling. We can maybe try pull it in a little closer, or press your toes up towards the ceiling to see what further movements you can do just while we're here. Okay, and then we'll gently release. Take your leg out to the floor just for a moment, just see how it feels. Hopefully nice and loose and eased off. Good. And then we'll bring up both our knees in, give ourselves a little hug, and then you can roll up onto all fours or however you like to get up. And then just come into the middle of your mat. Lovely. So from here, we're just going to come into a couple of cat cows. So we'll take a breath in as we dip our belly, lift our head up towards the ceiling. And then round your back as you breathe out and look down towards your knees or your tummy. And then a few more just in your own time. Lovely. And return to neutral. But from here, we're going to come into a couple of bird dogs. So opposite arm, opposite leg. So we're going to start with our right hand. We're going to reach it in front of us. We're going to see how that feels. And then we're going to take our left leg behind us. Just keep your toe on the floor this time. And then after a moment or two, we're going to think about tucking our tailbone underneath so we can engage our core. So when we lift our leg back behind us, our left leg, we're keeping that nice straight back and not creating a little bit of a banana. I'm just going to hold for a couple of breaths, so your eye gaze will be where you can balance. Lovely. And then gently release. We'll do the same on the other side. So we'll start with our left arm forwards, right toe back, and then just check in that we've got our core engaged, our tailbone tucked underneath, and then we'll lift our leg off. So just a couple breaths. And then gently release. So we're going to do them a little quicker this time. So we're going to do 3 more each side. So right arm forward, left leg back. Just try and keep your core engaged. Lower down and then swap. And then swap in your own time. Nice. So we're going to press back into child's pose now. So knees nice and wide, arms stretching forward, forehead on the floor. And then sliding your hands back in as you press back up to all fours. Lovely. And then we're going to come into thread the needle. So we're going to reach our right arm up towards the ceiling. And then feed your arm underneath. We're going to rest our head on the floor just for a moment. And then 2 more just like that. So reach up as wide as you can and come underneath. Lovely. And this time we're going to stay for a breath or two. Lovely. Pressing back up. So same on the left side. So 3 times on the last time we're going to come on down for a little longer. You might find one side is a lot easier than the other. This side is definitely more open than my right side. So on this last one, we're going to stay for a couple breaths. And then come back to all fours. From here, we're going to come back to the right side again. We're going to have our hand just behind our head. So we're going to start to twist into our thoracic spine, our upper spine. So we're going to open out to the right side. And then we're going to close and come back to straight. So we're going to do that twice more. So you might find you've got lots of movement. You might find you've not got very much. I definitely have less this side. So once you've done 3, you're going to release that hand to the floor. Same on the left. So hand behind your head. Open up towards the ceiling. And then close to straight. I just find it so much harder with my hand behind my head than when it reaches up towards the sky. Lovely. And then come back down. All right, so from there, we're going to come into a supported side plank now. So right hand and right knee are going to stay on the floor. Left leg goes back behind us. So toes going to stay on the floor. And then you're going to place your heel down so we can start to twist open. Your right foot might want to come slightly behind and tuck your toe. And then your left arm's going to reach up. We come into the supported side plank. You can look up or down just depending on what feels good for you. And then while we're here, we're going to think about engaging your core. Maybe start to press your hips forward slightly. And if you're feeling nicely balanced, you could maybe take your left toes off. And then we're going to aim for them to be level with your hip. And then perhaps your left hand can come alongside your ear as well. Good. And then if you want to take it even further, just to open your shoulder, maybe reach your arm back, grab hold of your foot. You're going to press your hip forwards. And then that should allow your shoulder to open. Take a couple breaths. And then we'll gently release. Maybe coming back into our side plank with your foot raised. And then we can bring our hand to the floor and bring ourselves back to all fours. Nice. So we're going to do the same on the other side. So your left hand and your left knee will stay. Right leg back behind you, toe on the floor. And then we're going to place our heel down. That starts to open you up. And then our right arm up towards the ceiling. So eye gaze can be up, down, I guess in the middle, depending on what feels good for you. And then maybe if you're feeling balanced enough, you can take your right leg off. And then your right arm will come alongside your ear. And then if you want a bit more support, you can take your left toe slightly out to the side. And then maybe reach back and grab hold of your foot. So press your foot into your hand, push your hip forward. Just open up a little more. Release, maybe come back into your leg off and your hand up. And then release down to the floor. Back to square. Oh, all right. Good. So from there, we're going to take our right leg and just bring it in between. So we're going to have our hands just tented up. Okay, from there, we're just going to tuck our back toe if you haven't already, and then we're going to reach our arms up. So I'm just going to hold for a moment. Reach your hands to the floor. We're just going to swap over feet. So taking your left foot forwards, coming up onto your fingertips, and then tuck your toes, and then we'll reach our arms up. I'm just going to hold for a couple of breaths. Let's come to the floor, and then from there back to all fours. Right, we're going to come into our supported side plank again, but not for as long this time. So we're going to take our left foot back, heel down, reach your arm up. And then lower down, we'll swap over to the other side. And do once more on each side. As you breathe out, lower, and then gently swap over. And then lower down. From there, we're going to come up into downward dog. So we're going to lift our knees off, press our hips up nice and high. You can keep your knees bent, or if your hamstrings are feeling nicely open from the work we did earlier, heels down towards the ground. Okay, I'm going to roll forward into a plank, and we're going to take our knees close to the floor, so we're in our bear position. Okay, and then press from there back into downward dog. Roll forward into plank again, and then we're going to drop our knees. Good, and then press back. Last time, roll forward into a plank, knees come towards the floor. It's again that core working, and then press back into downward dog. Lovely. From there, we're just going to walk ourselves to the front of the mat. So you can take little steps or a big step all the way to the front, and then come into a forward fold. And then grab hold of opposite elbows. Keep your knees soft if you need. Lovely. And then gently release your arms. We're just going to slowly roll up to stand. Shoulders are roll at the top. And then breathing, we're going to reach the arms up overhead. And then breathe up to fall back down. Lovely. We'll lift up halfway, maybe your hands come to your shins. And then lower back down. And from there, we're going to step back to our plank. Right, we're going to take our knees close to the floor. This time we're going to step our left foot back behind us. And then we're going to come into wild thing. So your left arm's going to reach up, your hips are going to press up towards the ceiling. Lovely. Come back to your plank. And then we're going to bring our knees close to the floor. Right leg is going to step behind you, open up into wild thing. So kind of like our side plank, but this time we're not having our knee on the floor. Hands come to the floor. Press yourself back up into your downward dog. So now we're going to look forward, bend your legs lots, and then step your right foot to the front and come up into a lunge, but leave your knee off the floor this time. Okay, and when you're ready, going to reach your arms up. Lovely. From there, we're going to take our arms behind us. We're going to reach them back towards our back leg and turn our thumbs up towards the ceiling, so we're opening up our shoulders and our chest. And then we'll start to take our gaze forwards. Lovely. So a couple of breaths here. And just check in that your legs are kind of a right angle if you can get there. Lovely. Now we're going to come into warrior three with our arms back behind us. So we're going to kick off our back leg, take our chest forwards, and then straighten your right leg. Okay. That's all right. And then we're going to step back into a crescent pose. Reach your arms up. Good. And then hands come to the floor. Step back to your downward dog. Good. So a couple of moments in down dog, adjust as you need. And then look forward to your hands. We're going to bend both legs and then step your left foot forward this time. Good. So when you're ready, we're going to take ourselves up to that crescent pose. Good. And then hands are going to come behind you. You're going to lower our chest slightly and thumbs up towards the ceiling. Open your shoulders. Okay. And then when you're ready, we'll come into warrior three. So kicking off that back leg. It's okay. Just get to where you're comfy. Lovely. And then back to crescent pose. Get your arms up. Good. Hands come to the floor. You're going to step to the front of a mat, come into your fold. And then hands to shins, come into your flat back. Lower yourself down. Good. Come up nice and slowly. Roll your shoulders. Good. I'm going to do half of that now. So breathe in and breathe out as you fold. Hands come to your shins, breathe in. And fold back down. Lovely. Hands come to the floor, step back to your plank. Good. And then from there into your bear position. So get your core working. And then your left foot is going to step behind your right as you twist. Reach your left arm up and overhead as you push your hips up towards the ceiling. Lovely. Then we'll go the other way. So back to plank to start. With knees into your bear. And then right foot steps behind the left. Reach up and over. Lovely. Hands come to the floor. Going to press up into our downward dog. Bend your knees, look forward, step your right foot in front, and then come on up to crescent pose. Lovely. Release your hands to the floor, step back to downward dog. Good. And then left leg step, so bend your leg, step forwards, and then reach on up when you're ready. Hands come down, step back to your downward dog. We're going to roll forward into our plank and then come into your bear position one last time. Hold for a couple breaths. Lovely. And then lower your knees, take yourselves back into child's pose. Fab. If your shoulders are feeling a bit sore, you can always take your arms back towards your feet. Just let the shoulders relax down towards the floor. And then when you're ready, we're going to reach our arms forwards. We're going to lift our hips up higher and then come into puppy dog. So take your arms to the front of the mat, pull yourself back and either rest your forehead on the floor or aim your chin and your armpits towards the floor. Okay, a couple more breaths. And then press your hands into the mat to bring yourself back up. Work your hands underneath. Then we're just going to come down onto our tummies. Lovely. So from there, we're just going to come into Sphinx pose. Made me think of this now. So forearms on the floor, going to lift your chest. Lovely. And then we'll bring our right hand to the middle. Left arm's going to reach back and grab hold of your foot if it will come in. If not, don't worry. Same arm, same foot. That's it. That probably makes it a bit easier. Okay, gently release. Swap over sides. Lovely. And we're going to lower down to your legs. Your hands either side of your shoulders. We're going to take our right arm out alongside us. We're going to roll onto our right shoulder and then take your left leg back behind you. That feels okay. Yeah. And this might be enough for you to stay right here, or you can maybe reach your left arm back behind your right hand clasped together. I can't do that today. Roll yourself back onto your front, and then we'll go the other way. So left arm out, roll yourself onto your left side, right foot back behind you. And if you did before, you might be able to reach back and clasp your hands together. Not feeling too good for me today, so I'm just going to stay here. Lovely. And then come back onto your front. We'll push back into child's pose a moment. Lovely. And then press yourself back up to all fours. We're going to come into lizard pose. So take your right foot on the outside of your hands, and then you can come into your most comfortable lizard. So you can always grab your blocks if you want to put forearms onto blocks, or you can just stay exactly where you are. Okay, so maybe just taking your toe and knee out to the side slightly, just see if you can get a bit more room in there. And then maybe come down and grab your blocks if you like, or just stay where you are. And then when you're ready, we'll come on up and then swap over sides. Just give yourself the time you need to get into positions and stretch. If you are ready, maybe toe and knee can come out to the side. Just give yourself a bit more room. And maybe come down if that's any good. Yeah, just about on this side. Bring yourself up when you're ready. And I'm just going to come and sit down. So bring your legs out in front. You might want your strap handy. So anyway, we're just going to reach our arms up. And as you breathe out, keeping your shoulders back, we're going to come into a fold, but not all the way down just yet. So if your hamstrings are still tight, you can keep your knees soft. We're going to slide our hands up our legs as we sit up, reach up again. And then as you fold down, maybe go a little further. You can round a bit more this time if you like. Then come on up. So we're going to bring our right leg and hug it in as close as possible. Sit up as tall as you can. This might be enough so you can just stay just here. Or if you wish, you can bring yourself on the inside of your leg. Reach down towards your feet. You can use your strap if you like, or just stay there. Good. And then maybe you can take a bind if you wish. So your right arm will go around your right leg. Your left arm will go around your back, and then clasp your hands together and just stay rounded down towards your knee or your thigh. And then come on up. And then we'll swap over sides. So take your right leg out, left leg in. Just hug it in to start. Yep. And then maybe come on the inside and reach down towards your toe. And then if you like to, try the bind on the other side. So left arm around your knee, right arm around your back. You're so close. Gently undo when you're ready. Just going to take down angle, so feet together. So closer to you if your adductors are feeling open, or further away if not. And then lift up nice and tall. Chest down towards your toes. Maybe elbows in towards your knees. Or out towards your knees, I should say. Come on up when you're ready. We're going to finish today lying down on our backs, just as we did at the start. So come on down when you're ready. And then just finding that nice, comfortable position on your back. I say that, I remember I used to hate lying on my back in yoga, so if it's not comfortable, you can always bend your knees, have your feet up flat on the floor if that feels better. If you are on your back, just once again, making sure you're not holding tension anywhere. Close your eyes. And then just notice the parts of your body that are resting on the floor. The back of your head, your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists, maybe the back of your knuckles, and your calves and your heels. And then just take a moment to notice your breath. Is it easier to breathe now compared to at the start of the class? Just taking a few more moments just to breathe, just let it be natural. Okay, and then we'll finish as we often do by bringing one knee into our chest, hug it in, and then swap over when you're ready. And once again on each side. Okay, and then bring both knees in, wrap your arms around and give yourself a squeeze. And then come up to sit when you are ready.